Yeah, I was asked to share about my journey with Tzu Chi and when I started. When I started out in 2012 with Tzu Chi, I had no idea the adventure it would take me on. So as I started doing events throughout with Tzu Chi, they got me into sign language was one of them, which I didn't have a clue as to how to do it, or I didn't even speak Mandarin. And we did profound gratitude to parents, that sutra, and I was going like, there's no way I could do this. But I learned. And I was able to do it. It took a lot of practice, and I kind of remember that was what really kind of got me more and more involved in Tzu Chi until I went to Taiwan. When I went to Taiwan and I met Master, and there was many things that took place on that trip going there. Things I saw, answers I got from when I was a child, that just inspired me to continue to more and more. And then I didn't do too much sign language at that point after. I was doing more charity, medical outreaches, some of the other events. And Sister Rosie talked me into doing the same performance we did for the charity concert we did in the beginning when I first did the sign language. And I was hesitant at first. She says, no, you can do it. She encouraged me, and so I did. After that performance, that was so touching to me because I already knew what I was to expect on the whole concert because I'd already gone through it. But the second time doing it is that I was able to see and the whole thing and feel what was being said. Even though I didn't understand, I kind of already knew by just watching the signs, the performers, and it really just touched me really deeply. Well, I got more and more involved with the Sutra of Infinite Meanings, sign language. I read the Sutra of Infinite Meanings. It was kind of difficult to understand, and there weren't too many English study groups, so I had to study on my own mostly. But going and doing these sign language performances and doing the performances, learning the sign language, brought a deeper understanding to me about the Sutra of Infinite Meanings. It actually helped me connect a lot of things, like the 32 characters to the Four Great Vows and to the Four Noble Truths. It brought more clarity to me. Each time I do those performances, it just deep sets those sutras into me, and better understanding, which also helps me bring it out into my everyday life, which in an area where I work in Mountain Empire, where I live, is very remote, rural, along the border, lots of poverty, lots of seniors. At first there was no health care per se out there, so we were doing medical outreaches. And I'm happy to say, since Tzu Chi was coming out and doing that, others saw that there was a need, and other companies in the county and that stepped up and actually brought medical services out to the community. So further on, knowing that the Bodhisattva path was one of the ones, the sutras we did, I learned about never giving up, keep going, never tire. And then Master even said it. We purchased a building in 2018, and everybody told me, no, you can't do it, it's not going to happen, it's just too much work, you don't have the money. But I said, no, I'm going to do it. I had negotiated with the county for about 5 years prior to obtain that building. They were trying to figure out a way they could give it to us at no charge. But it turned out under their rules and regulations we couldn't. But we were able to purchase it. So those teachings, if it hadn't been for the sutras and Master's teachings and Tzu Chi members helping me and encouraging me, I probably would have stopped. if I hadn't been part of Suchi. I might have said, 5 years, I'm not getting anywhere. I probably might have said that was it. But taking Master's words and then seeing what she did with the hospitals really, really sunk into me that don't worry, just go do it. So that's what I did, and I've learned to pass that on. One of the other things I've learned through the sutras and through Master's teachings too was about giving. We all think about giving, but we don't really think about giving. We'll give, and then we might get disappointed because it didn't have the outcome. And I've turned that onto myself. I said, if I feel that way, that's because I had expectations. I should have none. So every time I start to go down that path or that thought, that's the first thing I think of. There's no expectations. You're doing it out of the kindness of your heart and through the compassion, and it is what it is. You do the best you can, and you learn from those things. So that's another thing that's been able to put on life. Just everyday work and that. There's people I've worked for, and I was actually asked to come in just one day a week when there was no work for anybody else. And I basically said I'll take the layoff because I was already retired. And I was asked to come in once a week just to keep everybody calm. And to this day, I still work for that individual, his company, every now and then. We're good friends. I work with his granddaughter, who he's raising now. I've watched the difference come into his life. And hopefully the younger one, she's having troubles because her mother had passed away, or her adopted mother had passed away. And now the grandparents are trying to raise her. She's had a pretty rough life. So I'm trying to work with her. I have her volunteer at our service center there. And instead of being on her all the time, just work, I have conversations with her, let her be a kid. She's 14, but she never really got to be a kid. So I let her talk about her sports, and then we get things done, and I let her do some things that, most people might not let a person that age do, because they say, oh no, you don't know how to do this. I show her how, let her go. If she makes a mistake, that's okay. We'll learn from it. So those are some of those things that the sign language, the sutras, and the teachings from Master have taught me. Thank you for allowing me to share.